Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Cade Museum for this meeting of the Rotary Club of Gainesville here on this March 7th, 2023. My name is Tom Collette, your Sergeant at Arms. Welcome to each and every one of you for being here today. We ask that you please silence your cell phones. If it goes off during the meeting, that is a $5 violation by club rule. Guests, someone said, uh-oh, but that is the rule. Guests, visiting Rotarians who are joining us virtually on Zoom, please identify yourself in the chat. And if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, send us an email to info@rotarygainesville.org. We begin our meeting today with a joke, a song, and the Pledge of Allegiance. Here's Pete and Wall.
What a cat, what a cat. Still got a great hand. Before I start the actual program, let me announce that I have 2 tickets to the Elvis celebration on Friday night. It's of course not Elvis himself, but it's at the Performing Arts Center, $35 a ticket. I'm going to donate it to the club, and so if you want to buy these tickets, you can buy them from somebody over there. They're $35 a piece. And it's the 9 o'clock show because they're sold out at the 7. The only drawback is that the seats are not together. They're in different rows. So it's you're caught in a trap. You can't get out. No, but anyway, if you want them, we're not going to auction them. I'm just going to leave them up here at the front desk. And if you'd like to have them, and call somebody and check on the date and time, it's March 10th. At 9 o'clock at the Phillips Center. Okay, so Johnny was coming home from church. He was a Methodist, and he was walking down the road, and he ran into Susie, who was coming down the road, and she's a Baptist, and she was coming from her Baptist church. And so they decided to walk together. And so they got to a stream, and normally they just step over the stream. It's a little tiny stream. But today, because of a spring rain the night before, the stream was very full, very swollen. So they thought about it, and Susie said, well, if I get my new dress dirty by going through the stream, my mom is going to kill me. And Johnny said the same thing. He said, I got a new suit on. My mom's going to kill me. So Susie said, I got an idea. I'm going to take my clothes off and put them above my head and get over the stream and then put them back on. Johnny said, that's a great idea. So they did that, and they got over to the other side of the stream, and they put their clothes back on. They waited right a little bit, put their clothes back on, and they're walking home, and Johnny said, Susie, I don't think I ever realized until just now that there's such a difference between a Baptist and a Methodist. We're going to sing My Country 'Tis of Thee. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. Join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Pete. And now here to offer our invocation, in person, Lori Vidal.
Thank you. Well, I think it's a good thing for us to pray after that joke, don't you think? By the way, now, is it Episcopal or Anglican? You're Anglican now, right? Episcopal. I know, but what are you? He's an Episcopal, or used to be anyway, so they're a little looser, around the edges. So, okay, here we go. Let's pray together. It is such a special experience to get some things right when we have desires and plans to make a difference in our world. right from where we live. And we are thankful that we, the greater Rotary community, have gotten it right through the impact on so many involved in the Rotary Youth Exchange. Thank you for the many blessings received by those who have been able to go to another country and culture and have experiences of a lifetime. And thank you for the many blessings received by those who felt called to host and engage with those who have come into our community. Bless our plans even now today, as we seek to build goodwill and better friendships among our club and among those from other countries we will have the privilege to serve and embrace. I pray in your name. Amen.
Okay, you may be seated unless you're visiting us today. Jason Shank has the wireless mic. He'll bring your way.
Bob Crane, Iowa, again, coming up to the last couple of weeks. Thanks for building the new building for me. This is quite all right. Really nice. I'm wondering about the orange couch. What's the history on that? Anybody got something going there? Huh?
Thanks, sir.
David Nicholson, I have as my guest two of my, what? There we go. You can hear me? There we go. David Nicholson, I have two guests from Crawfordsville, Indiana, my lifetime friends, and that's Marge and James Benge.
It's my pleasure to introduce to you Major Lance Yeager from the Sheriff's Department and Jacob Rush, General Counsel, who is a member of the Monday Night Rotary Club, a fellow Rotarian.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I am pleased to introduce our North Florida Rotex, three of them only, there are more. We have Audrey Dubois, Anna Barrieros, okay, and Katie France, and they are Rotex of North Florida. They have been Rotary Youth Exchange students, have come back and now continue to serve the district, and we're glad to have them here with us today.
Welcome to you all. Before we get to a few announcements, we have some anniversaries and birthdays to recognize today. First, anniversaries of those who have spent a long time in Rotary. 36 years this month, Parker Lawrence. You can applaud that. 35 years, Anne Marie Rogers this month. And 41 years this month, John Cousins. Also, wedding anniversaries here in this month of March. They share it together. Wesley and Marcia Eubank, 33 years. The 10th. Maybe you should take her to the show. You can sit in separate seats. Just kidding. Also, Cynthia Miller and her husband George, 40 years. Congratulations. And now for our birthdays this month, if you are present with us, please bring your dollar up to Greg Young, Elena Frazier, Tony Salzman, John Shirt, Colleen Keene, Gabe Nosa, Ryan Thompson, TJ Pichet, Victoria Watson, Ernest Hull, Kirk Klein, Charlie Page, Eric Godet, Ken Mears, John Mason, Susan Crowley, Ben Stone, John Jopling, Pam Carpenter, saw him earlier, John Bruner, Monica Brasington, and Helen Warren. And now to officially give you your happy birthday greeting from our club, Once again, Pete Enwall.
Okay, with gusto. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, fellow Rotarians. Happy birthday to you and many more.
Thank you, Pete. And now we have two announcements for the betterment of the club. First up, Linda Reinhardt.
I can do this. Okay. Hello, everybody. I had the pleasure of spending the last weekend in Orlando doing the president-elect training, PETS. Many of you guys have been through that are in this room as past presidents and know that it is a wonderful time, very inspiring, and really gets you geared up for Rotary. But some of the things that I want to share with you guys as we move into the next year is, some of the things that happened. First of all, while we were there, I got to spend some really quality time with not only obviously all the president-elects in the state of Florida, but I really got to know the Gainesville clubs very, very well. And fun fact, all 4 clubs this year are going to be led by females. So we think that's the first time that's ever happened. So we also, again, got to spend a lot of time with our district governor-elect. It'll be John Tabor next year. But one of the things that was really fascinating was we got to see how important, and you've heard this over and over again, how important Florida is in the Rotary world, and how important this particular training was because Rotary International President-elect Gordon McAnally was there. He only attended, he did three pets this weekend. He did Indiana, he was up in Evanston, he did us, and then he was leaving to go to California pets. So not only did we get to hear from him, but then to take it a step further, that the one meal he was at, they asked District Governor-elect for 6970 to sit with him and pick the people that he wanted to have lunch with. And I was very fortunate to be one of the people that got to sit at lunch with him. So again, just want to share that because District Governor-elect John Tabor said the reason that he selected that because he wanted representatives from the clubs that really showcased what Rotary can do in the community. So again, I just wanted to share that because it was a very proud moment for me to represent us there. We talked a lot about what we want to do for this next year, talked a lot about making sure that our clubs are providing what our members want. So obviously I'm going to be reaching out to you guys and asking for that. I also really want to hear from people, that want to get more involved. And if you have a special interest, please let me know so I can get you tied in. But also please give me your input and feedback because I can only do what you guys want me to do. That's what my job is. The other thing that we talked a lot about is the power of Rotary and the 4 presidents. We really want to focus on really branding Rotary in Gainesville, not just the individual clubs. We spent a lot of time talking about how we can work together more often on more than just the Wild Game Feast. So we're going to be looking for some opportunities for that as well. The last thing I had is that I was asked to let everybody know about a district-wide service project. It's going to be taking place at the Beachside High School in St. John's on March 25th at 1 o'clock. It is being organized by the district Interact clubs, and it's going to be a meal packing event. The largest meal packing event that's been done in our district is 50,000 meals. Their goal is to hit 100,000 meals. So they're looking for volunteers from all over the county or from the district to assist with that. If you have any interest in being a part of the event or donating to it, let me know and I will pass that on. So that's my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linda. Up next to sing Fire and Rain is JT. Oh, wrong JT. John Thomas, everybody.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. There is an urban legend out there that the Wild Game Feast runs itself. That is a myth, for sure. We had a highly successful Wild Game Feast. I hope everybody had a wonderful time. I know that I did. And I will tell you that it wouldn't happen without all of our sponsors, especially without all of you and all of our volunteers. We're still working out how much, the accounting of the whole thing, but we know we had around 1,400 people. It was very well attended. We did well on our sponsorships, and I was really happy with it. So thank you guys for your support.
And now it's time to turn the meeting over to your president, Greg Young.
Thank you, Tom. Well, first I'd like to bring up a craft talk. A good friend of mine, actually I'll give her introduction right now, is Jean Chalmers. Jean is a new member of our club, and we're glad to have her. And I'll read a little bit of a bio she sent me. I kind of worked it a little bit because I know Jean, so I have some inside scoops. So, well, having family roots in Canada dating back to the 1700s, Jean headed south of the border to New York City. That is where she and David Chalmers met. They married and eventually made their way to Gainesville and the University of Florida. That is where David taught American history, and Jean received her degree in health planning. Jean has been very active in our community. She was involved early on in the civil rights movement in Gainesville. She also later served 2 terms as the Gainesville City Commission, 1 term as mayor in 85 and 86. Jean's list of civic activities are extensive. And a number of years ago, I had the good fortune of meeting her, mostly through the Matheson Museum, and we have become good friends. I'm always so impressed with Jean's energy, enthusiasm, and wit. It is infectious. Please welcome Jean. And we have found the 3-minute timer, Jean.
It's a good thing I don't have a southern drawl yet, or never make it. Okay, 3 minutes. All right, put your timer on. My father said I was found under a cabbage patch on our farm in northern Alberta. My mother said that my first words were, "Why?" And I've been asking that ever since. I was the youngest of 8, so the words I remember were, "Wait for me," and I've been asking that ever since. When my father died, I was sent off to live with grandparents in Victoria, British Columbia, where if the natives were any more British, they just simply couldn't talk at all. My 3rd grade teacher thought that I was retarded and wanted to put me in a special class. My Masonic Grand Dragon grandfather said, "I will send her to the nuns before I let you do that," which he promptly did. You Masons out there know how serious that was. In 1953, Queen Elizabeth was about to be crowned, so I joined a great herd of young colonialists from around the world just to help her make it happen. We worked, partied, went hungry, and hitchhiked all over war-torn Europe. After a few years, I sailed to New York, where I worked as a fashion model, until I went to NYU and could only work at nights. So I became a barmaid at a mafia bar. One of my customers asked history professor David Chalmers if he wanted to meet an intellectual barmaid, and the rest is local history. First, we lived on Swan Lake and then moved into Gainesville, where, walking down 2nd Avenue one rainy day, an elderly Negro couple stepped off of the sidewalk into the water to let me pass. I went home and announced that I could not live in the world of Jim Crow. David said, "Well, we could either go back up north or stay and fight." So I joined the Human Relations Council, which met in the Negro Library. Only if the Ku Klux Klan was not in town. If the KKK was in town, then we had to meet in the police. We used to be the jail there. We'd meet up there. The council was a branch of the Southern Regional Council in Atlanta, where I eventually became president and was honored to have people on my board like Congressman Jim Clyburn and former Congressman Julian Bond. I was also president of Florida's 2nd largest civil rights organization, NAACP was first, the Gainesville Women for Equal Rights. Together with LaKay, the wife of Dr. Banks, we started the first integrated nursery school in town. When David was locked up in St. Augustine, along with Martin Luther King and Mrs. Peabody, she's the wife of the governor of Massachusetts, I just tucked $300 in my brassiere and went to bail him out. I had to pass a roadside KKK meeting, so it was kind of scary. Through all this, I finally got a university degree, from one-room schoolhouse to Phi Beta Kappa. Well, it did take a few years. What I really learned was, if you want to make change, you have to have power. So I served 2 terms on the city commission, being mayor in 85, 86, ran the campaign for Ralph Turlington for Commissioner of Education, and served on committees for Reuben Askew, Lawton Childs, and Buddy McKay. This got me appointed to the Board of Pharmacy, the Ethics Commission, and to the board of the Democratic Leadership Council in Washington, D.C., where we were trying to get the Democratic Party kind of back to center. Mixed in with all this, I was a trustee at Alachua General Hospital, ran research programs at the medical school, and ran a program at the Crisis Center. At that point, I knew I never wanted to hire, fire, or do an annual evaluation again as long as I lived. So in 1989, when M.M. Parrish said, "Come on, Jean, try real estate," I said yes, and that began the best job I've ever had. During these tumultuous years, we lived in Sri Lanka, Japan, Israel, and Italy, where David tried to explain our country to college students. My son Henry is a corporate attorney in Atlanta. My daughter Kim was a performing and teaching violinist until COVID. Now she's my real estate partner at Better Homes and Garden, Thomas Group. I am so happy to be in Rotary. Thank you.
Jean, that is so wonderful. I'm so happy you're a member of our club. And I have a nice little 4-way plaque eagerly awaiting on the front seat of my car. I will present to you at a later time. But thank you, Jean.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Gainesville is an amazing place. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. It's great to see you all. Following up on John's comments, as president, one of the things we have to do is to find someone who can do a good job being your feast master. I'm sure you heard that, Linda, at the PETS, that when you have an event, you need to find the right person. Well, John did a great job this year. He had to leave for a business engagement, but it takes great leadership like that, but also takes Rotarians that are engaged and active. And that's what we have here in our club and the other clubs of Gainesville as well. It was a team effort amongst all our clubs. So I want to thank all the people in our club that stepped up to be servers in all the areas that we have, the behind the scenes, like the Randy Catons and the Doug Wilcox. I think I saw Doug walk in. He brought one of the trucks out to wet down the road leading into the feast. And if you'd seen it the day before, it was a dust bowl. But thank you for people like that just take the little extra step to make our events special. And then that money that's raised goes to recipients to better our community and the organizations that help provide those services. So thank you all. Let's see here. Well, there's also so many I could go into, so I'm not going to go there because it would be too long, and we need to get to our program here. So let's say this. I want to thank you all, and right now I think I'm going to introduce Debra. Debra Newell took over the role of the Rotary Youth Exchange during COVID, and so there was a lot of transition going on, a lot of unknowns, and so I want to thank her for taking that role on. And Jan and her team, Bill Stasewitz is not here, and others, Guy, I think I saw Guy Joplin here. And anyway, that group has done a great job. And so anyway, I don't want to take any more of Debra's time and her people's time. So come on up, Debra.
Okay, I hope I can navigate all of the electronics. I am very pleased to be here to re-implement the RYE, the Rotary Youth Exchange presentation that we do annually. And as Greg said, it has been kind of an up and down. We would get ready to go, the district would say, okay, we think that we can do this, and then there would be another outbreak of COVID and so forth, so that they would wait. Our 3 students are in school taking tests before their spring break. They all send their regards. I think each of you have had the opportunity to meet most of them. And that, anyway, we'll get started here. And what we're going to do, I am going to let Audrey speak just for a couple of minutes here and give an introduction. Then we'll do a video. And then Anna will speak, and then I'll do the presentation.
Hello, my name's Audrey. Thanks for the introduction, Deborah. I'm just going to give a really, really short introduction as to what a ROTEX is. So just like in the Rotary world, in the small microcosm of Rotary Youth Exchange, there's a lot of abbreviations and names for things. We have inbounds, outbounds, rebounds, ROTEX. So if you've ever wondered what a ROTEX is, I am one of those, Anna's one of those, Katie is one of those. So it just means that we've been back from our exchanges for more than 1 year. So this June, at the end of this June, it'll be 6 years since I got back. I went on exchange in 2016, 2017 to Peru. Since I've been back, I went to the University of Florida. I graduated last April with a degree in Spanish and biochemistry. And right now I'm getting ready to apply to medical school. But basically the whole idea of ROTEX is we would like to pay for the opportunities afforded us by Rotary to future generations of exchange students. And so that looks like giving presentations at high schools to garner student interest. We help kind of assess the applicants at district interviews. We help conduct linguistic and cultural trainings throughout the spring semester before their departures so that we can continue the success and the continuity of the program. Because the program was postponed for a couple years during COVID, we actually lost quite a lot of our ROTEX because, especially given that we're young students, most of us are in college, we're in a very transient period of our lives and everyone is pursuing different educational and professional opportunities. So we've lost a lot of our ROTEX, but we're trying to build the program back up right now. So that's kind of where we're at.
Brendan, if you can do our video, that would be super.
Each year, over 9,000 high school students from around the world board a plane. They board not as an American, or Brazilian, or Norwegian, or Korean. They board and land as a Rotary Youth Exchange student. They leave behind the familiar, everything from their family and pets to friends and school to their native tongue. It may seem like a far-fetched dream or perhaps an impossible challenge, but Rose went on exchange, and so did Keelan, and Mia, and Brandon. And so can you.
What have I gained from exchange? Okay, I'd say like a new sense of confidence.
All the things that you leave behind, you'll get new things when you go on exchange. You'll get host families. You'll get a whole new batch of friends, and not just American friends, but you'll have friends from all over the world.
You can learn all about countries, other countries, and how the people live, but until you go there and until you experience that life, you know, the perspective you gain is so much greater than reading about it in a book or online.
For some high school students, there's something missing from their daily life. They're looking for more. They need a bigger adventure, crave more of a challenge, and yearn to stretch their wings beyond the East Coast and explore more of what the world has to offer. Those are the students drawn to opportunities like Rotary Youth Exchange. Rotary Youth Exchange offers both an academic year scholarship program as well as a short-term summer exchange. Rotary Youth Exchange Florida has partnerships with districts in over 30 countries throughout Europe, Asia, and South America.
When you go through exchange, you face a lot of hard things that you would never face in the US. And so coming back, I look at problems in a different way, more of as a challenge rather than in a barricade in my life.
I know that if I can go to a foreign country, I can live on my own, and I can survive and thrive in that culture, then I can do anything.
People still go to school, and even though they speak a different language or they look a little different than other people, that they are still people just like you and just like me.
When I first got there, it was, to be honest, it was a little difficult, but every month I could see myself getting a little better, and a little better, and a little better. And as soon as I knew it, I was practically fluent. I had amazing relations with my family. I was able to go to school and get decent grades. I fit in just like a Belgian would.
Exchange isn't butterflies and puppies. It's not always happy and smiles, but it is some of the best days of your life. And I had some of those days with the other exchange students. They really know what you're going through. You know, they really know the problems that only exchange students get.
In addition to assisting with your transportation arrangements and visa processing, Rotary also provides language and cultural training as well as orientation training with students from districts throughout Florida and Georgia. These trainings are conducted over 2 weekend-long orientations at Lake Yale in Central Florida. With over 1.2 million Rotarians around the world, it's no wonder Rotary can offer the safest and most inexpensive academic and cultural exchanges. Rotary volunteers work tirelessly to prepare and train students and ensure their exchanges run smoothly.
The Youth Exchange fee covers insurance, travel plans, orientation, language courses, access to other students, this nice blazer, so many other helpful things that it's really very worth it.
Rotary Youth Exchange is a door to an experience that will enhance your life in ways you cannot foresee, but it's all up to you to open that door by submitting an application today. Check out our website www.ryeflorida.org and our Instagram at rye6970 and attend a required parent information meeting before submitting your life-changing application.
Boa tarde, tudo bem? Meu nome é Ana. Eu fui para o Brasil no ano 2018 até 2019. Good afternoon, Rotarians. My name is Ana Barrientos, and I went to Brazil in 2018 to 2019. And I'm just here to tell you a little bit about my exchange, hopefully in 3 minutes, so it'll be very fast. But essentially, this was my sponsor club way back when. I went to a little city in Brazil called Carmo do Rio Claro, in the state of Minas Gerais. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Brazilian states, but there's that. And let's just say it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, life-changing, really. I think exchange for all of us is a big gift in our lives and just alters us in a way that we don't even see in the moment and we see later on in our lives. And it's why we keep doing what we do. It's why we become Rotex. I always think, like most Rotex, like when we come back from exchange, we have this longing to keep going in the Rotary world, to keep being involved with Rotary Youth Exchange. So today, I'm still a part of the North Florida Rotex, which is chartered within the Rotary world, yeah. And so through Rotex, we were able to help future exchange students. We were able to do some service projects, and we're really just able to give back to this amazing program that gave us one of the best years of our lives. Since then, I'm going to the University of Florida. I'm studying biology and Portuguese, with hopes of becoming a doctor as well. But I just really wanted to stress that this trip was not so much a year in a life, but more like a life in a year, where I experienced things like individually that I would never experience here in Gainesville. And it just gave me life problem skills and tools that I have that help me in my everyday life. And I appreciate all the world of Rotary and Rotarians and all the support and the systems that they have in place for us. So thank you.
So Anna is fruit of the pre-COVID exchange that you all supported. Oh, I'm sorry. Anna is the fruit of this club, but Rotary's support of young exchange students. And as you can see from both Audrey and Anna's speaking, that it is life-changing. And I'm sure that each of you know that. And Brendan, if you'll bring up the specifics, I'll talk a little bit about what it is required to do and to be, because it's not a simple thing. It is exchanged between students of different high schools, Rotary sponsored on each side here in the United States, and for those who are in other countries. And there are people in this district who make the matches, make the contacts, and work with the people in the other countries to make sure that the students are not going to a club or a district or a school that is not going to be beneficial. As has been mentioned, we have the Rotary Youth Exchange, which is both a long-term and a short-term. The long-term is about 10 months, and they go for the school year. The short-term is from 4 to 8 weeks, and that does not involve school. We're not doing that this year in this district, but it's something that we have done in the past and we may do again. There are also other types, such as a scholarship and a visitor, which is like any of us could decide we wanted to go and spend time with a foreign Rotary club. And then the district has to have specific requirements that they fulfill through the Department of State, and extensive application process for the students who have also been trying to keep their grades up and do everything that they need to do for school, plus fill out the applications. They go to the orientations, which was in January. They go to language camps. They go to culture camps. They go to all those types of things. So that's over and above. There's also an extensive interview process. Not only do they interview here locally, which some of you have participated in the past. How many of you have interviewed students in the past? Okay, a good handful. And then we also interview families, but that comes later. They go then and they have district interviews, which are very complex. And then they have to follow a set of rules, and we have to determine whether they're candidates to do that. Why would we do what we do? It's all volunteers, and sometimes it's very long hours, and sometimes it's hard, but it's very good. it's very, very good. And we're investing in the future of America in our city. It is one of the Rotary's avenues of service. As it says, anybody can do this. It doesn't have to be children of Rotarians or legacies or anything like this. It can be your neighbor next door. You know, if you think they would be a good fit for the program, encourage them. The district, again, as I mentioned, we have a compliance officer to make sure that the students are safe. There are all kinds of vetting of each of us who's involved with the program here at the local level, as well as the district level. The Department of State vets us. We do background checks. We do all of that to make sure that students who come here and students that go are safe, and they have a net around them to be able to have the support that they need when they go or they come. We are actually changing from the current association that we've been in, which is Southeast Florida and Southeast Florida. We're going to be changing to the Eastern States Student Exchange, and that comes up soon. Student responsibilities, they have a lot. In addition to understanding the language and being able to navigate, they have got to be able to perform well in school, even though most of them don't get credit for it. They have a need to, they're representing the United States as well as Rotary when they go. So they have to have an understanding of our government, of policies and things like that, because people in the other countries are going to look to them. So any way that we can help is important. And when we have inbounds, which we just had one of our inbounds assigned on Friday, and it's a female from Hungary, and that's all I know. So I put that in there. As I learn more, we'll go on. This is for students who are 15 to 19, and you've seen programs come in and give speeches and so forth for other things that are going on. And then, of course, we look for students who can be morally stand up in that they can't drink, they can't do drugs, they can't date, they can't drive, and we need to know that they'll not do that. They can get sent home from wherever they go to if they don't do that. Need to be adaptable. And so forth to the country, the language, the culture, traveling globally, finding their way around in systems that they're not familiar with. It develops their leadership skills. If they didn't have them when they leave, they will when they get back. One of the things that the sponsoring club does is to do information meetings. We go out and recruit students from the different high schools. And then we also, as Greg knows, we sign on their documents that they have to have. And then we give them banners or flags to take so that they can exchange that with the club that they go to. Then there are hosting club responsibilities, and those are many. So we'll get to a chance to flex our hosting muscles here before too long. Once again, the students will arrive in late July or early August. And so we have to have club counselors, we have to have a YEO, we have to have support, host families, of course, and get them situated in school and whatever else that needs to be done. And you all are very important in this, because one of the things that we do is bring them to a lot of Rotary events and lunches. And if you all are going somewhere, invite the student to go for a day, invite them to participate with you. And that helps to give them a broader experience of what life in our country is about. We do pay a monthly stipend to the students that come in. It's currently $100 a month, and they also bring an emergency fund that they bring with them. And we have to give monthly reports to the president and also to the district that goes into our database that we navigate to make sure that the students are okay, and if there are issues and so on and so forth. You can probably recognize Sam is the second from your right, and the two girls in the middle are Delaney and Gaylin. And this is when we went to the big reveal, and that was in December. I went over and participated in that with them, and it was very exciting. All their families, members, and so forth are there with them also. And that's when they learn the country that they're going to. They got to pick out what they might want to, where they might want to go, but typically that's not what happens. And if they know a language, such as Spanish, they probably won't be put in a Spanish-speaking country because they Rotary thinks that they can become multilingual. So we have there were 9, and I think this is something that you all, I've tried to keep you informed. Of the 9 students that were selected from the whole district of 6970, 3 of them came from Gainesville, and we're very honored to have that. And our students are going to Argentina, Austria, and Hungary. The highlighted countries are the ones where the other students in the district are going to. And these are just some of the things that the students have to walk through to be able to go. They have to have passports, they have to pass background checks, they have to do numerous things, they have to come to the clubs, present themselves. And I would say just knowing them at the first interview time and to now, they've all changed, they've all matured, they've all started to come into themselves a little bit more. And they have to have good grades. Most of them, I think all 3 of our students are going to have graduated before they go. And so that's good. And they have to be able to know about the politics of the world. So, how many of you have been involved, not just interviewing, but in some way? A host family? Okay, so another handful. All right. So if you have questions, okay. If you have questions, then you can talk with the people whose hands that you see coming up. And you can see the ways that you can help. You'll hear about that over time. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Margaret and then to Guy for a moment, and then we'll open it up for questions. So thank you.
I was asked to talk about being a host family. And obviously, with the students coming in, we have to secure a certain number of host families. My husband and I hosted multiple students, France, Croatia, Kyrgyzstan, which our daughter hosted. My sister and her husband hosted a number of students. So it's something we've always done. But there are a few things that I will tell you if you're thinking about being a host family. Number one, it will be an experience that you won't forget. We watched young people from other places come here with total misconceptions about what this country was about, and we watched them grow, and we watched them develop, and we watched them change. And that was because of the relationships they had with the families in which they stayed. The relationships they had were key. I'm not going to tell you that every experience is perfect, because it isn't. These are young people. And yes, some of them can't conform and they get sent home. But they have those 4 rules that were mentioned. No drinking, no drugs, no dating, and no driving. And somebody said to me the other day, "Oh my goodness, that's really strict." Well, there's a reason for each. And with the activities that are available to them from locally all the way to the district, all the way to the state, they're not going to have time for most of that anyhow. It will be an experience, if you are a host family, that you won't forget. And I can assure you that the student won't forget. In fact, one of our students came back, went to university here, went to law school here. He is now a lawyer for a major European financial corporation in Luxembourg, and we talk to him every 2 weeks. That's a lifetime kind of experience that we're not the only one. Many other host families had. So think about it and think about the joy that it can bring. It's not easy, but it's like anything that's not easy. It's really worth it.
I'm going to point out, Guy, if you are interested in being a host family or want to learn more about it, let him know. I thank each of you for being here, for supporting the RYE program when it was in its glory before. Now it's going to be a little bit different, and for being here today to support and think about how you might want to be involved in whatever way suits your family or yourself. And I'm just excited for our future and for our country, and looking at these young people and knowing the ones that we're working with now. So thank you so much.
Deborah, I want to thank you for presenting today and also for taking on this important role, and to your committee as well. Guys, sorry we didn't get to hear from you, but in the interest of time, we're moving on to closing. And so I look forward to seeing you all again next week, when our speaker will be Dr. Aiden from the University of Florida College of Veterinary Medicine. He will be speaking to us about a new model of disease research. You got my quote today, Anna. Youth Exchange isn't a year in a life, it's a life in a year. And thank you. It was nice to hear from you guys today. That was really special. And there was no raffle today since Miss Marsha was busy. So this meeting is adjourned.